I just recorded a PvP metagame overview for March 2023 for good factions, and I figured I should do one as well for evil factions. Keep in mind that this is from an RP server perspective, and I don't really play evil factions these days, so I might not be 100% accurate. However, in the last 2 seasons I've played, I have fought a bunch of them. Both teams we fought were very, very big stacked teams, so hopefully I do have somewhat of an idea of which commanders you're going to be seeing these evil factions use on RP servers. Let's get into it. All right, we'll do T1 commanders, then T2, then T3 commanders. I'm not going to go deep into build, equipment, and troop compositions, just like I did in the good faction video. If you want to know more about that, hopefully I have videos for most or all of these guys, but since they're evil commanders, I might not. We'll start things off with who is, in my opinion, the best T1 commander in the game. If not the best, he's definitely the second best, and that is Dune. This guy is just absolutely ridiculous. He scales well with respect. He has a great matchup spread overall. He takes massive advantage of the Frenzy Gigantic Hammer. I've even seen Khaldunes with Frenzy Gigantic Hammer beating fully gold geared, like gold starred, gold gear, everything, you know, the shiny guys. Fully, we'll call them gilded. So full gold gear with gold star Dwallins. This guy is just absolutely incredible. Not much more to say other than that. He also uses evil men, which means he dodges the champion of the light matchups. He doesn't rely on burn damage or any other like focus damage, poison damage, whatever else, which means he dodges the high alert matchups. He can be built for commander damage. Really, at high respect, he's kind of a hybrid overall. He has an incredible amount of mitigation. He can run Reapers. He's just extremely flexible and extremely efficient and powerful. Gorebag is another good T1 evil commander that you'll probably see a lot. This guy does seem to need his unique item, though. So if you don't want to invest in unique items, then you might be better off going for Dune. However, with the Glaive of Minas Morgul, this guy is absolutely fantastic. The Reapers and Arbalests in his armies just do incredible amounts of damage, and his matchup spread, like Dune's, is solid overall. I will give an honorable mention to Grima. This guy doesn't have quite as good of a matchup spread due to his reliance on avoidance, evasion. They still haven't fixed all the tooltips, I don't think. Anyway, he does rely on avoidance, which means people with pursuit can be problematic for him. However, he is the best source of madness in the game, I would argue. And overall, he is a fantastic commander. You really cannot underestimate this guy. He's just not quite as good as Dune or Gorebag overall. And for what it's worth, I'll throw another honorable mention to Yusra. You don't see her a whole lot, but with her unique item, she can be quite effective. The twin daggers are kind of like a super convener when your army only consists of evil men, and she has some of the same traits as Dune. So she's quite solid, but you're going to see way more Dune, Gorebags, and Grimas than Yusra. However, she is effective and she does exist. For T2 evil commanders, I think the shining star by far is the old cripple himself, Gothmog. This guy, when he's defending, he has something like 42% damage reduction for orc units, which is just absolutely insane. Just like a blanket 42% damage reduction. It's just like, it's almost unbelievable when I calculated that. I was like, holy cow, it's seriously permanent 42%. It does require you to be defending, but that's really not that huge of a drawback. Due to that incredible amount of blanket damage reduction, he can use Reapers quite well. Also he has Morgul Lieutenant and Orcish Warlord. He can take advantage of Arbalests. Just a really, really solid orc commander overall, and countering this guy this season has been quite difficult, at least for my fellowship. And Mouth of Sauron seems to have risen in popularity recently. He does have some pretty drastic flaws, like if you fully invest into Harbinger of Darkness, or even 14 of 15 in Harbinger of Darkness, if you don't have a Tranquility Helm, you're just going to get kind of slapped by glass cannon style commanders. However, he does have a lot going for him. He has Master of Mischief, he has Lieutenant of Barad-dûr, he has Dishearten, he has Orcish Warlord, and he has some anti-heals. so in Black Arts. So he is a solid commander overall, just not quite as strong or as popular as Gothmog in my opinion. And just because there was a guy on my server who had one of the most awesome alerts I've ever seen, even though you pretty much never see alerts anymore, I'll go ahead and throw that out there. So it's not like this guy's a super top tier meta commander by any means. However, that guy rocking alerts, full gold items, slaying people was super cool to see. So shout out to that guy. I think his name was like Lacrier, something like that. He had a funky name. Hopefully I pronounced it somewhat right. If you watch this video, man, let me know because your alerts was super cool. Loved seeing it. So shout out to alerts for that. And moving on to T3, this is probably going to surprise exactly nobody that has played Season 3 and beyond. The absolute powerhouse of the game right now is Soonend. Like I said in my good faction PvP metagame overview video, you have to be able to beat Soonend in order to stand even a chance at all against evil. If you don't have a counter for her, she's literally going to walk through your armies. Like the matchups, her matchup spread is just so drastic, dynamic, whatever you want to call it, that it's just kind of crazy. Like if you're not prepared for her and she hits you, it's even worse than getting hit by a Witch King when you're not prepared for the Witch King. You're going to be losing your entire army. She's going to be losing like 5 to 10 command at most. And that's because of her Roderick tactics and inspiration. Basically, she just makes Morgul Arbalests do absolutely incredibly absurd, redonkulous amounts of damage. I'm not saying she's unbeatable. I'm just saying she's definitely the strongest commander in the game right now. And I just don't even think that point could be argued at all. She is absolutely phenomenal, fantastic. I do want to still show some love to Sauron, as his focus damage build is quite strong, especially against anybody that's not prepared for it. He can be countered with things like the focus resistance chess piece and mono stacking, because he does require hitting multiple targets on some of his bigger skills. So definitely more counterable than Soonend. However, when he has like Ring of Terror build and he hits somebody that isn't madness immune, which to be fair is a bit more rare these days, but he can have some really solid wins when people aren't prepared for him. So you have like a Ring of Terror build that if they don't have anti-madness, most of the time you're going to do quite well. And he has his focus damage build where if they don't have a way to mitigate focus damage and they are a triple stack, he's going to do very well as well. So you can use him, in my opinion, to snipe the fights that you want if you're able to do that, and he can be successful. And of course, how could there be a T3 metagame PvP overview video thing without mentioning the Lord of the Nazgul himself? I will start this off before people get mad and, say, oh, Phoenix is saying that Witch King is still this super meta, overpowered commander, whatever. He is much more counterable these days, much less efficient these days than he used to be. However, I will still make the argument that this guy is basically evil's Gil-galad. Like if Gil hits you and you have pursuit, then you're probably fine, right? If Witch King hits you and you have a way to mitigate burn damage, you're probably fine, right? However, when this guy can hit commanders that are not prepared for him, he can still just blow them out of the water, and he is good for taking tiles. So while he's not super oppressive like he used to be, he's still very solid in the right situations. And as a shout out to Care Bear, I think he showed me his full gilded Kirun somewhat recently on Discord. As a shout out to my man Care Bear, I wanted to at least mention Kirun as a viable option. Not nearly as meta or as strong as Sunni, Sauron, or Witch King. However, very cool commander, and I like Care Bear, and it's super awesome to see somebody pushing Kirun to the level that he has been. So shout out to him for that, and to Kirun for that. And that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about the evil PvP metagame overview, and thank you for watching.